everyone has been talking about it. It's the hot button topic of Buffalo right now, in Buffalo. We didn't even originally want to talk about this guy, and people had like 300 comments about it.
Yeah.
And I understand, that's fine. But now, I don't even want to talk about him even more, because there's so many conflicting things that are going on right now. And Antonio Brown, he didn't want to come to Buffalo, or Bean nixed the trade, or I took a completely different approach to it. I thought that this was all a power play to get other teams hit the panic button. Like, if he's going to the Bills, he's already the Bills? If the Bills have a shot at signing him, we have more to offer than the Bills. So that could have been a negotiation piece.
Well, that's interesting.
I was just wondering, what would speed up the process of Brown getting to another team that he wants to go to really fast? Well, all right. I don't think they're going to trade him to the Patriots. They already made that known. They don't want to trade him to any AFC North team. That's fine. Right. Okay. And then after that started to die down and nothing was really going on, they say, all right, let's talk with the team and then publicize that we're talking to a team.
Yeah, let's drum up some interest.
Yeah, let's say, okay, we talked to the Bills. He didn't want to go there. So he's going to pick and choose where he wants to go. So therefore, leading that team that he goes to, a team that he wants to play for. Okay? If he wants to come here, that means he wants to play, even though he said he doesn't have to play football anymore.
Right.
But using the Bills as that step stool of, hey, he's willing to go to the Bills. He was talking to the Bills. We have more to offer than that. We were in the playoffs last year, or we had a better record than the Bills, or all this other stuff. We're not rebuilding.
Right.
Let's throw our hat in the ring. So it may get other teams to throw their name out there, thinking that, the Bills had a shot?
Well, I mean, think of the dynamic change that the whole issue with the Bills caused, right? Before, it was teams have called about Antonio Brown. They want to get something done before Friday. And then, Thursday comes and they say, well, it looks like AB's going to Buffalo. But really what happened there, right, is the Bills made an offer of some sort, and that became the floor. Right, whatever it was, the Steelers found that acceptable as the floor, and then I really do believe that the Steelers said, hey, let's put this out there and see what happens, because we know AB doesn't want to go to Buffalo. AB wants 140 targets a season. Buffalo's not going to give him 140 targets a season.
They will not, no.
It's not going to happen for him, right? So let's float this out there. We know he doesn't want to go there, and let's see how the dynamic shifts. And here's what happened, right? AB says, no way, I'm not going to Buffalo. Buffalo obviously says, well, then we're out. But their offer still stands, right? You already know what the value is established at.
Yeah.
So now you can go to other teams and you can call, let's say there's 5 teams that AB wants to be traded to, and he's made it very clear he wants to go to, this is all hyperbole, okay? So let's say he wants to go to the Chiefs, the Rams, the Patriots, the Colts, and what's another team that throws an absolute ton of times? The Chargers. Okay, let's
just
say
one NFC team.
Yeah, that's fine. Let's just say those are the 5 teams that he's willing to accept because he thinks he's going to get the volume of targets that he wants.
Okay.
Right? The Rams obviously throw the ball a ton. KC throws the ball a ton. Indy throws the ball a ton. Like all those teams throw the ball an absolute ton. So he thinks he's going to be able to get his value in targets there. Okay, fine. Those are the 5 teams. So now you can pick up the phone and call those 5 teams and say, look, AB put you on a short list of teams that he's willing to show up for. Now, here's the price. Where are you with that? Because we can guarantee he'll be there. He said he's going to show up. We can guarantee that he'll be there. And now you start looking at the Steelers, now that they know that AB showing up could be a concern for other teams, can add a conditional round pick in case AB doesn't show up. So maybe Steelers say, if he doesn't show up, we'll give you a 3rd round pick. If he vacates his contract, we'll give you a 3rd round pick. So I'm just saying that the shift in Buffalo and using Buffalo as a leverage point, because AB has no leverage, right? If he gets traded, he's free to cut. He doesn't want that.
Yeah,
he doesn't want to be 32 and free to cut. he loses all leverage. Plus, he loses control of where he's going. So the only thing he's got in his favor is saying, "Well, I just won't go back."
I think I like your point, but I want to put a little spin on it.
Yeah.
Okay, you don't let teams know until they call you that he'd be willing to go there, because then that becomes a negotiation piece for the team. Hey, listen, this was the offer that the Bills had, but he wants to come here.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't want to go to Buffalo, so we should have some more compensation. Like you said with the third round, I like that. But like, let's say the Bills were offering a second rounder this year, a second rounder next year.
Right.
Let's just say that was the floor.
Sure.
All right, and then KC calls up. That's a team that he wants to go to. They say, no, we'll give you a second and a third because he wants to come here.
Right.
That doesn't make it. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, I wouldn't do that until a team called that he's interested in.
See, it's perhaps trying to find the division where the most teams that AB would likely show up for exists, and trying to pit them against each other. Right? So if you look at the high value
West.
The AFC West makes a lot of sense there.
He's talked to the Niners before.
Mm-hmm.
Russell Wilson could use some help.
Yep.
Arizona is
dying.
Yeah. You think a guy that could center him would probably be Fitzgerald? Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, but I mean, you got the quarterback situation. I mean, there's a lot going on.
Yeah, there is. There's a lot of chaos going on. Who's and the Rams?
Yeah.
So you could try to pit those two, but the Rams
they've got no money.
46 players.
Yeah, they've got no money.
There's no money. So you could say, I mean, the Rams could word it. I mean, we're going to.
They could work it.
They could say, okay, listen, your first year, we're going to have to.
We're going to restructure.
Shift it. Yeah. So like this year you'll get 6, but next year you'll get 20 something.
Right.
Whatever.
Yep. It's exact. Well, I mean, he gets paid all the same, so he doesn't care.
Yeah, because he's got $36 million left on his deal. They could reword it like they did with the Saints did with Breeze.
Right.
They just kept kicking that rock down the road.
Yep. Exactly. Well, I mean, that's what the Jaguars did with Bortles, right? He was supposed to be making $19 million, and then they restructured him, took a $19 million cap hit on his 5th-year option, turned it into a $10 million next year contract.
Yeah.
You know, granted, he's a $22 million quarterback after that, but he's only 10. He was only 10 this last season.
He plays like a $30 quarterback.
I know, right? So, I mean, he played like a $10 million quarterback in today's world. That's what a $10 million quarterback looks like. But the fact still remains that AB is still likely to be traded, because I think the Steelers are going to try and use his. They're going to try and use his refusal to show up as an advantage, because you can pivot that to be an advantage. You know, like say, listen, he said he'd show up for San Francisco, so you tell me what you want to do, right? You call Seattle. You know, Seattle calls and says, hey, you know, let's. Where really are you guys on Antonio Brown? They say, well, you know, we talked to San Francisco, and AB said he'd show up for San Francisco. So,
yeah,
you know, how do you feel about that? I'll let you think about that. You call me back when you got 2 seconds to give me. Right? When that eats away at your conscience enough, that's
enjoy
fine.
your pancakes.
Well, and honestly, the Steelers really wanted to get that deal done. Adding a conditional pick to if AB shows up, I think would quelch a lot of the fear. They could get the deal done right now if that's what they wanted.
Okay. Yeah.
If that's what they wanted to do.
They just don't want to give him up for nothing.
Right. Exactly.
And you can't. I just hope that emotions aren't running wild with that. You know what I mean? Try to get something for him. Don't try to be spiteful at this point.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
right.
He's this type of player. We know how dynamic he is and all this other stuff. But the way he's been talking about our organization, we don't respect that. So we're going to try to milk as much as we can. And, you know, truth be told, they could just let him sit on the bench next year and rot.
But the fascinating thing about Pittsburgh is you're hitching your wagon to your quarterback who's talked about retiring the last 3 off seasons. That's where you put your loyalties, right? You're letting AB go. You let Bell go, right? So you're putting your loyalties to a quarterback that threatens retirement every off season. But that's the ship that they decided to sail in.
Yep.
You know, and I understand the quarterback's the most important guy in the room. I get it. But
he's 36.
Yeah. And every season he talks about retiring. Every season. So aren't you a little tired of this if you're Pittsburgh?
Yeah.
You know, you just let a generational wide receiver, you're trying to get rid of him. You know, you have the one of the top 4 players in the NFL you couldn't get him to come to your facility last year. You couldn't get him here because you hitched a wagon to your quarterback. It's a shame. You know, Pittsburgh really could have had another great run at things for the next 2 years with AB and Bell if they just bit the bullet.
yeah.
They still could have done it.
Yeah.
But it's over now. That's over. If I were a Steelers fan, I'd be furious with how this is all playing out.
Start playing.
Granted,
Boys to men, end of the road
but
right
notice that all but Big Ben are made out as the villain here, right? AB's made out as the villain because he didn't show up. Le'Veon Bell's made out as the villain because he didn't show up. Maybe they just don't want to be in the same room with Ben.
That's the media doing that. Because you haven't heard anything from Ben. He's been attacked. If you were the Steelers, you'd be telling Ben, listen, you keep your mouth shut. Yeah, you don't say anything.
You don't say a thing about it.
Don't respond any, because it'll be taken 45 different ways. If you don't say anything, it can only be taken one way, that you're the victim. They're attacking you.
Right. The perfect answer to that is if the media asks you what's going on with Antonio Brown, what's going on with Le'Veon Bell, why aren't they here? The perfect response is you say you'll just have to ask them. Because I'm here, so you'll have to ask them.
Yeah.
I can't answer for them.
I can't answer for somebody that's not here.
Right, and that makes it look like you're the victim. It really does.
Yeah.
Right? It pivots that response into Ben being the victim. And that's, I mean, if I were a Steelers fan, I'd be furious with how this is all playing out.
Oh, yeah.
I'd be furious.
Because you're looking at a 6-10 season and you're probably looking for a new coach next year.
Yeah. Stat.